Gypsy was called by the defense, not the prosecution. She was to be their star witness, trying to save her prince, starting with a scathing denunciation of her mother.
Why were you in a wheelchair in June of 2015?
Because my mother forced me to be in one.
Was there a time between when you first were put in a wheelchair in June of 2015 that you figured out that you really didn't need to be in a wheelchair?
Yes.
When was that?
I always knew that I didn't need the wheelchair.
How did you know that?
Because I could walk.
It was testimony the prosecution knew could be a game changer.
We all knew she was somewhat of a sympathetic figure at that point, and there was a concern that would.
Hi guys, welcome to Parole Radio. I'm Amy. How is everyone doing today? We're going to talk Gypsy Rose again. I feel like every other day I'm here talking about Gypsy Rose, but there's just so much going on in her case that I can't help myself. And the more I see, the more I worry. But I'm told not to worry. So I'm going to show you what I'm worried about. And I'm going to show you who told me not to worry. And then we're going to just go from there. Is anyone else worried about Gypsy Rose, or how are we feeling about Gypsy Rose? I haven't even really got a gauge on how my audience feels about her. Do you feel like she's done her time and she deserves to be out free? Or do you think she should still be behind bars because she murdered her mother? I feel like she's done her time. And she's done her time. She did what the court said, and now she's out free. Today we are streaming to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. We're streaming to X. Hi, X. And we're over on Instagram for our first live stream that I believe is going to work, because I figured out how to mute the sound over on Instagram. And I see I'm over there. I do see some people in chat. Hi, Planet Paranormal, Dan and Vicky. How is everyone doing? This is Parawoman Radio. We're going to talk about Gypsy Rose today. If you could give this live a heart, a like, a thumbs up, however you do it on the platform you're at, it just helps us dance out into the algorithm and bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help my channel out. And it's really appreciated. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. So the first thing I wanted to show you, let me arrange my stage, is a new interview that I saw that she did with E.T. Okay, so some backstory. This is Gypsy Blanchard oversharing between what's going on between her husband and herself. People have started making fun of her husband, saying that her husband literally looks like her mother, which in looking at it, he does. But they're making fun of him, saying that, you know, we marry our mothers, and this is what Gypsy has done. And so Gypsy has come out in defense of her husband, and this is what she had to say.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard defending her husband Ryan Anderson from online critics with a spicy nod to their sex life.
Everyone has been really, really nice and supportive.
Well, not everyone supporting Gypsy. Less than a week after the 32-year-old was paroled and released from prison after serving 8 years for the second-degree murder of her mother, Dee Dee.
This is Gypsy. I'm finally free.
And now Gypsy's got no time for online haters who've taken to the comments of this pic Ryan shared 2 months ago on Instagram.
It's nice to be home.
Enter Gypsy, dropping a supportive message for her hubby. If you get likes and good comments, great. If you get hate, then whatever, because they don't matter. And then Gypsy gets a little candid, assuring Ryan, besides, they jealous because you are rocking my world every night. Then things get a little not safe for work. What we can tell you is that Gypsy says their sex life is fire. Happy wife, happy life.
Okay, bye.
She says that the D is fire. That's what she said. She said the D is fire and he's rocking her world every night.
Ryan's response? A rhetorical question. Who said I gave a damn about what these jealous people say anyway? Then he playfully tells his wife, now come get it.
I just want to send a quick video to thank everyone for the massive amount of support that I've been getting on social media.
Yeah, Gypsy's also getting plenty of love too on her socials, where she boasts over 6 million followers on both TikTok and Instagram.
I'm back home in Louisiana.
You know who else is from the Bayou State? Vanderpump Rules alum Stassi Schroeder, who just reacted to learning she and Gypsy might be related.
I'm excited and I'm terrified at the same time.
According to genealogist Adina Newman, Gypsy and the reality star's families go way back, with the two allegedly sharing relatives all the way back to the 17th century.
Wow!
And Stassi, she's got a sense of humor about this unexpected branch on her family tree, writing on Adina's original post, OMG, I'm unwell, next to crying laughter and skull emojis.
I'm enjoying a beautiful day outside, and I've got a lot of great things happening really soon.
As for Gypsy, no word yet if she's a fan of the former Bravo celebrity, but we do know after leaving prison, she's focused on spending time with her family, including Ryan.
Hey everyone, happy New Year's Eve.
Oh boy. So not only is Gypsy Rose, it's rumored that she's going to meet up with Jeffree Star and Eugenia Cooney. Now she's going to be possibly meeting with the Vanderpump Rules star. What do you guys think about us making Gypsy Rose into a celebrity? How do you feel about her being a celebrity? Because she is a celebrity now. She is. She has millions of subscribers. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm about to celebrate with my family. I have my dad and my stepmom Christy here, and of course my husband. So we're looking to bring in the new year together.
While the two said I do in 2022 with Gypsy behind bars, they got to kick off 2024 at home with a kiss on New Year's Eve.
It's gonna be really awesome to have some family time after so long.
Back in that supportive and sexy message, Gypsy tells her husband, don't listen to the haters. I love you and you love me. We do not owe anyone anything. Our family is who matters.
And again, just thank you guys for all the support, and keep watching.
So this kind of goes right along with what I've been saying about Jeffree Star and Eugenia Cooney. I just am worried about my Instagram feed. I don't know if you can hear me over on Instagram. If you can hear me over on Instagram, will you type something in the chat for me? So that was the first thing that I had to show you. As always, we're not watching the entire videos. I will put the video down in the description and you can watch the video on your own. And this is just my comments, my thoughts, my opinions. I urge you to go out there and research on your own. This is Gypsy Rose post-prison goals, Taylor Swift, and The Act. I have a few videos on this subject, on The Act.
After your release.
This is Parawoman Radio, and I'm Amy. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us dance out into the algorithm. It's just a free way to help my channel out. We're covering the Gypsy Rose and should we be worried about her? I went into a prison podcast. It was two women that were in prison and now they're out, and they have a podcast, and it was on the topic of Gypsy Rose. And I went in there and I stated are you worried? Like, I'm worried about Gypsy Rose, and I do have their video to share how they replied to my question in the live that they were doing. But before then, let's watch this. We're going to talk about the act a little bit.
Why instead did you decide to do this docuseries?
She's starting to do live videos with news outlet. She's done with Lifetime. I've heard she's going to be on The View. She did something with ABC. Maybe ABC is The View. I don't know. But she's starting to do some interviews.
Which is clearly going to give you even greater attention after you're released from prison.
I think the heart of it all is I just want to share my story.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a voice for the voiceless. I want to come out and just tell people this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm doing this. It's important to me. It's close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just tackling it. Yes, it is a lot right out of prison, but I'm doing it for a cause.
Many people are starting to say that Gypsy Rose knows nothing else but attention. She's worked for attention her entire life, right? She's she knows how to get attention, and I worry for Gypsy. What's going to happen when the attention's over? What will she do to keep the attention? I just think it's too much for somebody who's never experienced life except under her mother's tyranny, and then she went into prison. So, and now she has people clamoring to be around her just because of her story.
Started telling people that I had cancer, but none of it was true. There was also a lot of emotional and physical abuse. I started to feel like it was either her or me. So my purpose for doing this documentary is really to just shed light on mental health awareness.
I am very curious, and I do stop and start these because this is for fair play use. If you want to watch the entire video without me doing that, I will put it in the description and you can go do that on your own. But I feel like it's been said that she hasn't even had any mental health Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Something technical popped up on my screen. StreamYard said there's a technical error, but it is not your problem. It is ours. Try again. So this is Parawoman Radio, and we are going over the Gypsy Rose case. I'm worried. Are you guys worried? Let me get the screen back up for you. Make sure that I can see everybody. Make sure everybody's still with me. We are streaming over on Instagram, X, and YouTube today. Hi, guys. We had some technical problems. I do apologize. StreamYard assured me that it was their issue, not mine. That does nothing for me, but anyway, I'll pop this back a few seconds. Gypsy Rose is talking about her release from prison, and she wants to help others and gain awareness about Munchausen by proxy.
Know that they're not alone. Because when I was living with my mother, I felt very alone. I always say that if I had someone to tell me, hey, it's safe to talk to someone and tell them that you're struggling, tell them that your home situation is bad, tell them you're being abused, I wouldn't have committed my crime. So that's why it's important for me to share my story.
Dee Dee Blanchard's death was violent.
And that's when I hear her calling my name, Gypsy, help me.
I do believe that this, the first part of the Lifetime docuseries is dropping today. I don't know what time today it's dropping, but this is from the docuseries. We for sure will cover this for you guys.
Her daughter, Gypsy Blanchard, and her boyfriend are now jailed on first-degree murder.
I played a part in asking him to commit the murder. That is why I'm in prison.
I feel like so many people out there feel like they already know you. We've seen so many documentaries, so many TV shows about you. What do you feel like is the biggest misconception about Gypsy Rose?
I feel like the biggest misconception about me is that they think that I'm still that little girl that got arrested or that was in the wheelchair living with my mother.
Yeah, it's hard because I do see her in my mind's eye as still as that little girl that was in the wheelchair. We all need to come to terms that she was never that little girl in the wheelchair, right? She was never that little girl in the wheelchair. She was acting.
I think they don't realize that there has been a time gap from, it's an 8.5-year time gap from when I got arrested to now. And I've grown up, I'm matured, I'm a woman, I'm married. Like a lot has changed. Whereas I think when they watch the
part of the docuseries dropped like a 10-minute clip. This goes along with Gypsy defending her husband. There was a part of the docuseries, a 10-minute clip dropped last night, and it was her family talking about how they felt about her being married already. And I can tell you the words they used. They all but said she was not going to remain married. They said that she would be back in their house. Her sister said that she was disappointed that she got married, that she wanted to spend that time when Gypsy got out of prison with them all being under one roof. But yeah, her family's not too pleased about the marriage, but they do recognize that she is an adult now and she makes those choices now. Nobody else makes them. Well, the prison system can help still make those choices, but some choices, but she makes her own choices now.
Previous documentaries and even the act, I think their image of me in their mind is still stuck in that time space. And they don't allow for any growth because all they see is those images of me living with my mom.
I will say though, in the act, it was done pretty quickly. So there wasn't really a huge time space for them to even consider. But I think Gypsy's suing the act. I have a quick video we're going to watch in just a second.
Right. And so I think now that I'm coming out as a woman and sharing my story now, I hope they'll see me in a more grown-up light.
You can't breathe. Your body strangled you. 5 minutes. I could have lost you forever. Is that what you want?
Have you or will you watch The Act that Patricia Arquette, Joey King portray you, your mother? Have you seen it yet?
I have not watched The Act, no.
Do you plan on it?
I don't plan on watching
Why?
it. I lived it. For me, looking for things that weren't correct.
I think I would want to watch it just because I want to be aware of what's happening. Like, I would watch it because I would want to be aware, like, what was said in it. I would want to know.
Or that were inaccurate. That's neither here nor there for me. That's why I'm doing this docuseries, is to share my truth of the actual events that took place. I'm not trying to Hollywood it up. I'm just trying to share my story in the truest of lights.
Isn't it interesting how she looks into the camera? I like to do behavioral analysis, and looking into the camera is Hollywooding it up. I will put the rest of the link to that video. You can watch the rest on your own. I just wanted to watch the act portion of it. And now popping over here, this is Joey King reacts to Gypsy Rose Blanchard's release from prison. She really doesn't, but they talk a little bit about Gypsy suing the act producers. So let's watch that.
Gypsy explained.
This is Parole Woman Radio, and I'm Amy. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us in the algorithm, brings more people back, just helps my channel out, and it's a free way to help me out. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you.
Saying she was a sick woman, and unfortunately I wasn't educated enough to see that. She deserved to be where I am, sitting in prison doing time for criminal behavior. After Gypsy's release, Joey King has had to say quite a bit regarding her case, especially since she was so involved in speaking up for her justice during and after the series documentary. For one, she thinks it's incredibly right for Gypsy to be released because of all the struggles she had gone through due to her mother. Joey spoke about how saddening it was to hear that Gypsy was convinced to have so many issues, even things like vision, hearing, and dental problems, and how terrible it was to hear that due to several unnecessary surgeries led by her mother, she was forced into using things like a feeding tube and a wheelchair despite being perfectly able to live life without. Joey even remarked that Dee Dee had lied to Gypsy about her age and made her believe that she was much younger than she was, which completely changed Gypsy's perception of herself. She said, "It was just such an infantilized way of being. She just carried such a childlike aura about her." In the past, Joey also addressed the fact that despite Gypsy involving her online boyfriend, making him sneak into her house and attack her mother as she hid in her bedroom, she didn't believe that the sentence was right. "No one deserves the life that she had. The fact that she's in prison still, it's heartbreaking to me. I think she deserves a much better life now. She deserves to be free and deserves to be in therapy, not behind bars." Joey also talked about how she felt as she was attempting to get into Gypsy's mind for the role, and that it didn't even truly hit her how awful her mother had been to her until she had to put in dentures resembling Gypsy's teeth. She described how the moment had been huge for her, as it truly put things into perspective regarding how bad it had gotten for her. Being able to feel like she was walking in Gypsy's shoes was one of the biggest.
Is it not insane that her mother let her teeth rot out? I've had a tooth that went bad, and I think it probably was the most painful thing that I've experienced, and I had back surgery, so I can't imagine.
Reasons why she was such a big advocate for her release and why she couldn't be happier for her release in the present. Joey did admit to the fact that before getting the role, she hadn't known Gypsy's story too well, and confessed that the role is what pushed her to research everything there was to know about Gypsy's life as preparation. I immediately started going online and finding any videos I could of her, any footage at all, and I rewatched the documentary, which also tells the story of Gypsy and Dee Dee, I think no less than 15 times. Joey did indeed perfectly embody a lot of the torment that Gypsy had experienced in her life and seemed to perfectly understand how to convey Gypsy's defeated look around her mother. However, she also stated that she is fearful of what Gypsy would think of the series. It is nerve-wracking, cause I was thinking about if she sees it one day, I think it will be really, really hard for her to watch. Some of her family members have spoken up.
She's not even gonna watch it.
About how they wish that people would stop making stories about it and that it would be for the best to just let the whole thing go and leave Gypsy alone. However, despite the horrors that Gypsy had experienced—
That's what people are saying. Leave Gypsy alone. Let her live her own life. Gypsy doesn't want to be left alone. Gypsy went right to social media, and I think it's going to end up biting her in the butt. And I don't want it to, but this is what I worry about.
Her freedom meant a lot to her.
She's got Jeffree Star, Eugenia Cooney, now Stassi from Vanderpump Rules. I mean, you just never know who else is going to. She's been elevated to celebrity status. It's interesting. Is there another true crime case that somebody has been elevated to this kind of status? Can you think of anybody? I'm trying to think, and I really can't. But I'll keep thinking. But can you guys think of any other true crime story that's been elevated like this to this pop culture sensation? I can't.
Even after all the years she had spent behind bars, something she herself spoke about in her very first post back. Her release was kept relatively private, except for a few paparazzi shots of her leaving the prison, as everyone attempted to keep her as safe as possible during the event. But despite all her time in prison, her trial attorney Michael Stanfield was able to reveal that Gypsy held together incredibly well, and not only that, but she even seemed to have improved quite a lot after such a fairly long sentence. He said, "Prison is generally not a place where you become happy and healthy." And I say that because to me, that's kind of the evidence to the rest of the world as to just how bad what Gypsy was going through really was. It's clear that Gypsy is ready to face the world once again. However, one thing that seems unlikely is her meeting up with Joey King. It seems like Gypsy has quite a few reservations regarding the act, as she felt like the show was at times pretty inaccurate and over-dramatized a few situations, driving her to want to take legal action against it. She said, "I feel it is very unfair and unprofessional that producers and co-producer Michelle Dean has used my actual name and story without my consent and the life rights to do so." Some of the inaccuracies included things like her private life, which had been dramatized to make her seem like a nymphomaniac, and the fact that they made it look like she was chained to her bed multiple times, even if it had only happened once in real life after she attempted an escape. What do you think of Joey King's involvement in Gypsy's life?
But I feel like Gypsy has said that she was that was what her mother did when she got in trouble. She would chain her. I swear she said that it happened multiple times. I don't know. Let's go into chat and see what's being said. I see people coming over into Instagram. Chat is separate than my other chat, so I have a hard time seeing what's being said. But hi to everyone over in Instagram. I'm glad you're here with us. Over in StreamYard's chat, switch to YouTube. It's a better way to view. Hi, Philly Eagle. I'm not sure where you switched from. Oh, Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. But I don't even think Lorena got to this. Like, does Lorena Bobbitt have over, how much? Over, was she up to 3 million, 6 million? I don't remember. Over on Instagram. Let's see how many she is over on Instagram. Instagram, she's at 6.5 million, you guys. 6.5 million people are following her on Instagram. I think Instagram is her main place that she goes to. It's amazing to me. But let's move forward. We watched. Did we watch? Did we watch this one yet? I don't think we did. Okay, so moving over to here, this is Gypsy Rose. She's talking about prison, her mother, and the Lifetime documentary series. As always, I will put the link to all of these in the description. We don't watch them all. And it's we don't watch in their entirety.
Eyes open, and I'm really digging karma right now.
That really wasn't anything. Sorry. We'll just move along. I did want to share a creator that's doing some really good content on the Gypsy Rose situation. It's over on YouTube. The name of the channel is Down the Rabbit Hole at Bedtime. She's doing some exclusive, if you want to know, like kind of like what was happening with her in prison. She has a video where there's actually people, the relationships she had in prison, those people, they're starting to come out and talk. She talks about some new scammers that are which I call the vultures that are latching on. She has a good one about Dee Dee, her mother's childhood. So she has some of the more unusual, not just like, what is Gypsy saying about her husband, about the D being good, stuff like that. She has more unusual spin on things, which I appreciate. I'll put her channel in the description as well. Okay, so let's move on to the prison yard. Oh, well, before that, we'll do the prison yard last. Let's do this. I just wanted to show you, we're over on TikTok, and I noticed that Rich Lux had liked one of my videos over on TikTok, and it was the Eugenia Cooney video that Gypsy is supposed to be meeting with Eugenia Cooney and Jeffree Star. I don't think that was yesterday's video, but it was the day before. If you're interested, I'll put it somewhere here so you can see it in the replay. But
videos with them? Well, we actually have some confirmation because Eugenia Cooney said that her and Jeffree Star are going to be with Gypsy Rose. Here we go, roll it.
And today, yay for Gypsy! So that's why so many people are talking about Gypsy Rose today. Okay, because like sometimes I'm not gonna lie, like I see a decent amount of you guys like typing about Gypsy Rose. But yeah, no, I mean today it's like especially. So I'm like, okay, that actually makes sense. She's on TikTok. Gypsy was? Really? Wait, does Gypsy have a TikTok? I didn't know that. Can you have TikTok in jail? Probably not. I mean, I don't think she's in jail now because I guess she's free now. So yeah, we're gonna go meet her.
You actually cannot have a TikTok in jail, but they do have those iPads now, and they can email and you can video chat and do quite a bit nowadays. I think the COVID really helped that system out and pushed it along because they couldn't make people be in there all by themselves. Well, they could, but I mean, yeah, I think, oh, I said it too. I shouldn't have said it because I think you get demonetized when you said it. But when during the vid time, things changed. Things changed online. It really progressed online medical appointments and stuff like that.
It's gonna be so fun next week. Yay! I want to meet Gypsy Rose. Yes, guys, I'm meeting Gypsy Rose next week. Jeffrey and my mom and I, we're all going to go meet Gypsy. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, Eugenia Cooney and
So you can see he literally just grabbed my video. I'm glad I put my name so big up there, or you wouldn't even known it was mine. I thought to myself, is that too big? But I guess it was just right. So yeah, I'm always happy to have my content picked up by other creators. It's just as long as you do what I'm doing and, you know, credit me. So the last thing I have for you is this podcast. It's called On the Rec Yard. It's a women's prison podcast, and it has two women that were in the Texas prison system. And it's a really good podcast. And I recommend it. This week on Wednesday, they talked about the Gypsy Rose situation. We're not going to watch the whole video, but you can see I came in 44 minutes into the live and I start talking. And I start saying that I'm worried for her. And this is what they have to say. This is Parawoman Radio, and I'm Amy. Please give this live a thumbs up, a heart, smiley face, however you do. It's just a free way to help my channel out. And if you like my content, I'd love to have you as a subscriber or a follower, however it works on the platform you're at. Hold on. I'm having a hard time because I have too many things opened at once. Let me get back to where I was.
Time all over the country. It's pretty much everywhere. It's our punitive system is just not restorative, and yes, you're going to suffer some kind of mental, physical, and possibly even sexual abuse while you are incarcerated in this country.
Right. And the systems are designed for that. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, when you have a punitive system like that, and if you have a society that believes in that way of dealing with justice, when abuse happens, right? When the things that happen to the children in the Texas juvenile justice system happen, oh, okay, well, they shouldn't be there. I mean, that's what we hear all the time. When we talk about people dying of the heat or abuse or sexual assault or any of that, almost the first reaction from society as a whole is, oh, well, you shouldn't be there.
Don't go to prison.
Don't go to prison. And it's like, that should not be the expectation that when you go to prison.
Actually, it's further back.
When you live in Texas, you have the next day to get there. If you live out of...
Well, let's go back a little bit further, because they do start talking about the whole, about her, people saying that it was unfair that she couldn't go to the Chiefs game, that they sent her, home to Louisiana. And this is, Tunchi is up at the top. She is the one that does most of the talking about Gypsy Rose. Marcy Marie it's on her channel, on the rec yard. I always want to call it on the prison yard, on the rec yard. It's Marcy Marie.
And experience in the last 8.5 years. So my ebook is called Release, Conversations on the Eve of Freedom, which you can pre-order now. And again, just thank you guys for all the support, and keep watching. Okay, bye.
Honey, she, let me tell you something, I think all the years that she's had to perform, which it was like, she talks about her mother holding her hand and squeezing her or pinching her when she did the wrong thing. Like, she knew how to be in the public and perform. She did it her whole life. I don't think she's shy about being in the public eye whatsoever. And I'm not really all that worried about people taking advantage of her. I think she's savvy and smart and cunning. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in an admirable way, that I think that she's more than capable of navigating outside life and public life, because no, she's never had a normal life, and she never ever will.
No,
And that's just her lot. And I
she's
think
just not going to have a normal life. And what is normal anyway? I've not had a normal life. And I mean, but what is normal? I don't know what normal is anymore.
she knows that, and she's going to embrace. She's embracing her narrative and her story, and she gets to own it. Nobody else gets to tell it anymore. She gets to. And whether people have a problem with that or they feel like she shouldn't, it doesn't matter. It's hers to tell. And she can tell it the rest of her life because she deserves it and she earned it. So, I think she sounds level and healthy. So let's talk about that, Kay Carey. She was, her parole officer said, you need to get home. You need to get to Louisiana. And, everybody made this big deal out of, oh, she loves Taylor Swift. She's obsessed with her. And she tried to go to the Chiefs game to run into Taylor Swift. I don't believe that. I think they were having a good time and they thought that they could just go and do stuff and get home when they needed to. And your parole officer, you have a certain amount of time to get to that parole office. In Texas, when you live in Texas, you have the next day to get there. If you live out of state, they're going to give you, if you're transferring, 2 or 3 days to get here. But we're not going to dilly-dally and go to football games and concerts. You're going to get home and you're going to report to this office. That had nothing to do with Taylor Swift or football or anything like that. It was just really a technicality of that, hey, you need to get home and report.
And it didn't have to do with Missouri saying, we want you out.
Right.
That's to leave.
No.
So the way that works is she would have already had to get that in the works while she was still in prison to get that interstate compact is what it's called in Texas. I don't know what they call it there, but it's a transfer if you're a person on parole. And that was all set up much ahead of time. So Missouri didn't tell her. Now her Missouri parole department might have said, girl, you better get to your parole office in Louisiana, or we're going to put you back, because that's what happens. If I had not reported to my parole office, I would be back in prison. That's just the rule. So a lot of people are saying Missouri doesn't want her. Missouri said no, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. Her home is in Louisiana. She has family in Louisiana, and that's where she was going home to. So yeah.
Okay. She'll be telling it on The View. Probably so. She's going to be telling her story everywhere.
So I will put the link to that entire live. I enjoy that podcast in the description. So I did have one more thing. I have actually 2 more things. How long have we gone? Which one? Let's just wrap it up with this last one, this last bit of information I have. So this is an interview that she's doing with ABC. Gypsy Rose Blanchard speaks out on first TV interview after being released from prison. She was sent to prison for the murder of her mother in 2015. This is Parawoman Radio, and I'm Amy. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us bring more people back to our party. It's just a free way to help us out, and it's really appreciated. And I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're over on YouTube, well, if you're on any of the platforms, please consider following my channel or subscribing it. I'd love to have you with me.
After leaving prison for her role in the murder of her mother, she sat down with 2020 anchor Deborah Roberts. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning, George. Her dramatic life of tragedy and survival has just captivated so many, especially Gen Zers, in a way that very few have. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who helped kill her mother to escape a life of suffering and abuse, has been the subject of countless media stories and a Hollywood series. Well, now she's a free woman, and she's telling her own story.
Is Gen Z the generation that came after Gen X? Where is Gen Z in all this? I'm getting mixed up because there's too many generations coming after the millennials.
I share my story to be a cautionary tale so that the next person that might be in a situation like mine, they don't take the route that I did.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is finally tasting the freedom she's long dreamed of.
Tell me about the day you stepped out from behind the prison walls.
You don't realize how much you're restricted in prison. I felt like I was in a black and white world and I just stepped into Technicolor. It was amazing.
Her world shifting after spending nearly 9 years in prison for helping plot the murder of her own mother. Gypsy, a victim of her mother's psychological disorder, commonly known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy, in which parents seek sympathy through the exaggerated or made-up illnesses of their children. Since childhood, Gypsy's mother, Dee Dee, portrayed her daughter as frail, disabled, suffering from multiple illnesses, including...
It's just amazing to me, too, how the mother was able to really make her look disabled. It's, wow.
Leukemia and muscular dystrophy, subjecting the girl to life in a wheelchair, a feeding tube, and unnecessary surgeries, even having some of her teeth removed. It was all a lie.
When you look at these pictures now of Gypsy Rose, what do you think now?
I don't even associate with that little girl anymore.
Do you recognize her?
I don't. Like, I know that it's me, but at the same time, that isn't me anymore.
Your mom has been portrayed as a monster.
I don't believe my mother was a monster. She had a lot of demons herself.
In the covering that Down the Rabbit Hole did, Katie brought out that Down the Rabbit Hole at bedtime, that Dee Dee's mother, which would have been Gypsy's grandmother, abused Dee Dee much in the same way that Dee Dee began abusing Gypsy. So it's been a repetitive cycle in this family.
That she was struggling with. I didn't want her dead. I just wanted out of my situation. And I thought that that was the only way out.
In 2015, Gypsy says she reached a breaking point and plotted with a boyfriend she met online, Nicholas Godejohn, to kill.
Were you high?
Yes, I was. For a time.
So when you made
to talk about, because it took me down a really dark path. But I felt like it was my only way to cope for a time.
So when you made this decision to take part in the killing of your mom, were you high?
Yes, I was.
And do you blame that?
Well, of course she was. Her mother was giving her medications that made her like that. Oh, God. This makes me sick.
Your decision?
No.
This doesn't help my worry.
Oh, no. I don't blame drugs. I don't blame anything. I don't make excuses.
And now?
And now I'm sober. Now I haven't used in 4 years, and I don't feel the need to. Hey everyone, this is Gypsy.
4 years. So she was using well, it doesn't surprise me that she was using in prison, but that's interesting. We're going to find out so much, I think, about this story. It's just going to get bigger. This is the Gypsy Rose year.
I'm finally free.
Her journey sparking a cult-like following online.
Do you feel any conflict with that? You've got fame, even though you participated in a murder?
Of course I feel conflicted. Fame is not what I'm looking for. I always said I think I'm infamous, and then I came out famous.
You've had shots of your selfie out of prison. You've commented on your love life. Are you enjoying the attention?
Honestly, I'm a very shy person. I don't think that I'm doing anything that anybody else wouldn't do. I'm
No,
being
I don't.
myself.
I don't agree that she's a very shy person. I don't agree with that at all. I think she's trying to play down. She enjoys it. I can see she enjoys it.
Ryan Anderson, her new husband who wrote Gypsy in prison, was waiting outside the prison doors after his wife's release.
Oh, I missed you.
I missed you too.
But you're really together physically for the first time.
Yes.
We call it newly together weds.
What are your plans? Do you want to have children?
We've talked about starting a family. We just don't know when at this point. Our lives are pretty hectic right now.
So this is your happily ever after, the gal who liked being a princess.
It is, yeah. I had to kiss a couple frogs to get to this one. Handsome face.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Blanchard tells us she's rebuilding relationships, including with her father, and hopes to use her fame.
How are you guys feeling about her husband? I feel like he's too good to be true, but maybe that's the cynic in me. I don't know. So we'll be following all of this. It's all a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. It is a lot. I'm working on some new Watts content, Watts Family Murder content. Be looking for that. If you have a case that you'd like me to cover, I am always willing to cover a case that my listeners want to hear. You can email me anytime at parawomanradio@gmail.com. We're over on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok. We're all over the place. We're on Twitch. So come find us, subscribe, give this live a thumbs up. Every little bit helps, and I'm really happy that we're growing. If nobody's told you this today, I'm going to tell you this because I really feel it in my heart. I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.